They've been coming back and forth since I've been here. This is what they do. They can have access to their kids, but they take bribes and don't want me to have a relationship with my children. That's okay. They put up their job is to put people in jail that break the law, but it's impossible for them to get accountability for their crimes. It's impossible. She stalks me and haven't got her charge. He came to come use the phone and he's leaving since I picked up my phone. Stalking's a felony charge, even if you demand people not to record being stalked inside of shelters or harassed. So the whole conspiracy don't get their charge. It's Kiana. Can you repeat your name again?
My name is Daniel, ID number 5697. I can barely understand you. Can you please repeat your name for me?
Kiana Clark.
There seems to be like a static noise, and I don't know if you're on speaker.
Yeah, it happens out loud. I can't stop it. It happens all the time. I know there's a vehicle by me. I've waited on hold a while.
Because there's so much static noise, I can barely understand you.
Well, can you call back? Because I've waited a long time.
You can't take me off the speaker?
What makes you think you're on speaker?
I'm still having a hard time understanding.
Okay, well, there's several vehicles that just pulled up. And there's a party that won't leave. I'm currently getting stalked right now. She does it in the shelter and multiple different other environments. And haven't had charges for it.
Just try to see if I can just hear.
I'm waiting on this vehicle to leave. Can you hear me better now?
Not really, but
yeah, CPS and critical reports, they can't solve the strangest thing.
I'm still having a hard time understanding you.
Well, I waited a considerable amount of time. Can you call me back?
Like I said, I'm going to just try to see if I can just get the gist of everything and try to see if I can just go off of that. Can you please call your name?
I don't know what the deal of it is, why it's so incredibly difficult for people to hear me or give me law enforcement.
Hello, can you please just spell your name for me?
It's Kiana, Keyana. They won't leave and they're being loud.
And you're calling about the children, correct?
I'm calling about myself and my child.
You're making a self-report?
And I'm calling for both myself and my child. My family.
What is your home address?
Now we got shelter staff coming over here kicking. They try to set me up and then say that I'm recording them. They got on me about recording crimes. I'm sorry? That's shelter staff had to come over here, leave the shelter, and come supervise what I'm doing over here. I'm sorry?
What is the name of your child?
Yes, there's an army full of conspirators.
You said they were...
There's an army full of conspirators. You asked if there were state workers involved. I said there's an army full of conspirators.
Do you have any, regarding the people that was involved in today's report, did you have a name for them by chance?
I do have some names.
What were they?
James Hastings, Rashida Mfela, James Hastings supervisor, Regina Harris, Denise Cage Wortham.
Regarding today's report, all these people are involved with it, is that correct?
Yes. A Tasca school teacher. I can find her name for you, but it should be in CPS records. They did fraudulent reports to CPS, and it's
regarding today, you were calling about, can you go into further detail what you're trying to report today, man?
Yes, I heard on the line that it is a state jail felony to make false statements to CPS. While I was
heard on the line what?
While I was on hold, calling you that it's a state jail felony to make false statements to CPS.
Uh-huh.
Are you aware of that? And you were intake?
What are you trying to report today?
I just wanted to get clarity. I just wanted to get clarity. That's one of the reports. I heard on the line that it's a state jail felony to make false reports to CPS. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And who investigates that?
It's going to be, I can give you the phone number if you're interested in that type of, if you want to make reports against people that are making false reports. Would you like that number?
Who is this?
So that agency is going to be, let me just tell you the direct name so I don't mislead you with any other type of misinformation. Just give me one.
Yeah, I still want to do a report. I still want to do a report on other things, but I wanted to address that up front.
So, regarding the report, what are you trying to make today?
Well, we'll go ahead. We can just address each thing at a time, one at a time. So go ahead and give me this information, and I'll write that down, and then I'll go on with the report.
Yes, ma'am. Just give me 1 second, okay?
Okay. Yeah, I wrote the Office of Consumer Affairs, and they sent me a letter saying that they didn't have any reports. It was a blatant lie. They just sent me numerous records, and they said that they don't have any reports of any investigation with CPS. And the family court took my child custody rights away. They passed the buck. And then I did multiple different reports online, and it was cover up, and no one ever investigated it. I feel like I'm being robbed of my rights. And I'm not getting law enforcement to combat all these wrecked up felonies. I told you I've already contacted Consumer Rights. And there's corruption.
To the actual report, what are you trying to report today, man?
Hold on one moment. Let me get a pen to write this down. Are you sure that this is, what did I call again? What did I call?
It's called the Office of Consumer Affairs, and I was trying to ask you, what are you trying to report regarding today?
But, I mean, you're not appalled that people are committing crimes? You're covering for it?
What are you trying to report regarding your case today?
That is part of the report. Hold on one second. I'm getting a pen. Here's the problem. When I talk to my people on my phone, I'm not getting any information. I told you the Consumer Affairs covered for crimes, and you just disregarded me and my family's value. You there?
I do not work for the consumer. I don't work for that agency. I work for statewide intake. What are you trying to report today?
Okay, what was the number that you gave me?
I didn't give you any number.
What was the number that you were trying to give me?
No.
What was the number you were trying to give me?
It's going to be 1-800-727 and then 7777. Would you like me to repeat that for you?
Yes.
It's going to be 1-800-720-7777.
Okay, that's 1-800-720-7777.
Yes, ma'am, and that is going to be the Office of Consumer Affairs.
Okay, and you don't need to know that I contacted them and my child safety is at stake and they conspired with abuse and said they didn't have records that they did to conceal crimes. You don't need to know about that?
That's something that we don't investigate. No, that's going to be something you have to call them about.
But it states on the recording that it's a state jail felony to make false reports, and no one seems to be investigating it. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and go on with my report.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so my daughter has been in a psychologically abusive household, and there's been a history of abuse ever since September 24, 2011. There's been a gun incident that happened in the household, and this party has made false statements with an army full of other conspirators to keep me from my child custody rights, which is what we addressed was already a state jail felony, and interference with child custody with all the other accomplices is also a felony charge. So I repeatedly make reports, but some kind of way the police come and give me criminal trespasses, and then in Arlington they gave me took my freedom. I'm not quite certain why the police department would go through all those lengths to keep me from reporting things to CPS that people claim are false statements. But some kind of way they didn't follow protocol, and there was misconduct, and armies full of people. I'm not able to communicate. What was your name again? I'm not able to communicate. What's your name?
Your 14-year-old daughter is living at the same address as you or somewhere else?
Right. I'm doing a report, and all the operators seem to be covering for it.
Regarding your 14-year-old daughter, where does she live?
She's at stepfather and stepmother. Well, stepfather, stepmother, and father. Kind of a little bit distraught. I'm sorry. I've been going through this a while, and I've had no remedy for these wrecked up felonies that I'm surrounded with.
So when's the last time you spoken to your child?
They're keeping me from her. She said that she was hit, and I haven't spoken with her in a while. And since government officials have taken bribes, they robbed me of the right to be able to report all this criminal activity. I don't know. No one will tell me what the con was to keep me away from my child. So I'm calling the disbursement unit. What is this called? What unit is this?
statewide intake at
Okay.
statewide.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, the statewide intake. Because no one has told me and they won't, and I repeatedly keep asking. What was the story that was told?
You said you haven't spoken to your child in a while, is that correct? Or
So are we going to deflect on the incident where a gun was there? Are we going to deflect on the state jail felonies? Are we going to deflect on the psychological damage of making false statements and a psychologically abusive environment?
I'm asking you what is currently going on with
I'm
your
telling you.
daughter at the
I'm telling you. I'm just not quite certain why everywhere I'm calling is covering for crimes. If a person is in a psychologically abusive household that has been abusive with gun experiences with guns, why does
And I'm
CPS
asking
not
when's the
care
last
about
time
that
you
or
spoke
any
to
other
your
place
daughter?
I'm sorry?
When's the last time you spoke to your daughter or seen your daughter?
It's been a while.
Like,
I'm not quite sure of the dates, but it's been a while. But I wanted to concentrate on the gun incident and then psychological abuse. I would like to do that report today.
Gun incident. What was going on with the gun incident?
It's something about a gun that I got in a record that they had a situation where there was a gun in her environment and someone had a clip and all kind of other different things. And then that they're of CPS.
When was
And
that?
I'm not. I think it was like last year sometime. And then there was an incident where the stepmom appeared to be intoxicated. So I haven't talked to her in a while.
Did you know what was the father's name?
Yes, it's Michael Cage. So while I'm getting that information for you, so what they keep doing is closing cases because they don't have their lie straight. So they don't want to give me any information because it's a blatant lie. But that violates my rights. So they've terminated my rights. They didn't give me any kind of guidelines to follow to get access to my child. They don't even want me to know what the con is to keep me away from my child. So I'm still looking for that information. So I'm calling you guys for help because I've called years and no one will tell me. CPS workers keep closing cases so they don't have to talk to me. I go to the police, they won't tell me. I went to the family court, they won't tell me. I got records and it's not in the records. I'm sorry, they keep doing this year after year with no accountability. Let's wait. Yes, I'm getting that number for you. Did you want to say something?
Okay, good. No, I was still waiting. I just wanted to make sure I was still on the phone line.
Yeah, did you hear about how I don't know how my rights were being terminated? And why government officials haven't had accountability?
Anybody legal aid-wise?
I'm not quite certain if you won't take the report of the state jail felony crime. If you are making it impossible for me to report that James Hastings, as well as an army full of others took bribes, then that leaves me exactly where I've been.
And that's what I was stating, that you have to contact the office.
I did, and I didn't get anything done, but how is it a state jail felony and no one will investigate it? Because the Consumer Affairs investigates it, but refuses to? So we can't do a report? I thought it was mandatory reporting, especially calling CPS.
I'm going to be documenting everything we talked about. I'm going to try to see if there's currently any open cases regarding your daughter and Michael Cage and kind of go from there. Before I let you go, did you want the report ID for this intake/documentation?
Okay, let me give you the number.
30.
I just said 1 moment and you're still talking. What was it?
79330923. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes.
79330923.
Okay, so what's been going on is they won't investigate any of the reports. They keep closing them in malice and don't let me have any involvement in the investigation or any of the services that you offer with legal and different things and parenting classes, all the programs CPS offers. They don't want me to have them in corruption. So each time I would do a complaint or do a report, they immediately close it so they can deprive me of all the services that you offer. And then all the things that were bought off, I'm forced to stay in it because it was already pre-bought and paid for. So by them not following protocol forces me to be in this deliberately created problem.
Got it. So like I did state earlier, I'm going to be documenting everything we talked about and try to send it out.
Try to send it out? They had a gun incident, a clip in the household, and there's been child abuse, and you're going to try to send it out? Try?
Before I let you go, do you need anything else today?
I think that there's a disconnect if you are refusing to. I'm not finished with my reports. I have.
Time to participate in our survey. will now be asked if you
And I was on hold a long time, years of this.
Please use the number before
This
my call
is
was answered. Was
the number of times. Oh, my phone's trying to cover
Please
for it.
press 1 for a grievance.
Fire ambulance, pull up to.
Police.
Alright, what is the address?
It,
They're going.
I'm sorry?
They're going to.
Just that address. That address. I'm standing outside.
Okay, what's the emergency?
My phone is hacked and it puts my safety at risk. I've made emergency calls and people have covered for crimes. I've called CPS and they've covered for crimes. I've had identity theft. I'm getting stalked. And there has been no remedy for these crimes because my phone's hacked. This is serious.
Okay. You have to file a report at 311 about that.
What's the report number?
You have to talk to them, they'll have to look it up. It's not an emergency, they'll go to the system and look for it.
Oh, if someone's hacking my phone and I'm fleeing a domestic violence crisis and I get threats, that's not an emergency? And child abuse is not an emergency?
Is there a child injured with you currently?
Well, there was a situation with a gun and then I'm getting slandered to keep me away from my child. What do you guys constitute as an emergency or active murder? Do you think that the person that's dead is going to be able to call 911?
Currently, is there a suspect there with you?
I'm just wondering if that's what it takes for someone to be deceased and then call 911. Would that then be the emergency that you're looking for?
Thanks, ma'am. I'm asking you.
I'm not being heard. I called you and there's a deflection. I'm just trying to get clarity on what you guys deem as an emergency.
Answer the question, fam, so we know what you're dealing with.
I told you that I'm in a domestic violence crisis and the person hacking my phone, depriving me of mail, having all kind of people stalk me and all kind of other things, which is dangerous.
Is the suspect there with you at the moment?
There was a suspect earlier that he has me stalked. They just left.
At the moment is what I'm asking. Are they there?
Okay, so the suspect has to be there murdering you before you do anything.
Is the person there currently, yes or no?
No, they just left.
How long ago was that?
About 10 minutes.
Was the person physically fighting with you or anything like that?
No, but stalking's a crime. Why would you guys refuse to take reports of it?
You're going to need to file a report at 311.
So you guys do you think the feds will ever do anything about your charges? Ever? Ever? And how much longer do I have to live my life like this? I'm just trying to ask a question. I'm not quite certain. I can't talk to the police about crimes. I just wanted to talk to a police. Well, what's the line do I call to talk to a police? What's the line that I call to talk to a police?
311.
311, I can talk to a police that way?
You speak to non-emergency police, correct?
Okay, let me try that. They answered and won't talk.
Welcome to the Austin 311 after call survey. Was this your first call to Austin?
So I haven't talked to them and then they
concerning
forwarded me
this
to a
issue?
survey.
Press 1
And
for
then my
yes,
phone's making it
1 for
blurry
no.
so you can't see it. They're doing it again. Hello? Hello?
Welcome to the Austin 311 after call survey. Was
A
this
second
your
time
first
they did
call
it.
to Austin?
Hello?
Hi, do you police fire ambulance?
Police?
Address?
I'm sorry?
What is the address?
7. I'm in danger, and I want to be able to report that to the abuse. I'm fleeing a domestic violence crisis. That's serious.
Oh, it's Kiana?
It is.
Are you in danger?
My abuser is stalking me and enlisting other parties and threatening me, having cars drive reckless towards me and all kind of other things, and committing crimes to keep me away from my daughter, and then have that she's in an environment that's not safe, and then committing crimes to control my devices. So we have this psycho abuser that's stalking me, that's committing crimes with several courts and police departments, hacking my devices, and causing setting up crimes to keep me away from children, and having cars come towards me and people threaten me. repeatedly. I'm sorry? Okay. What's your name?
The Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. To continue in English, press 1. For Spanish, thank you for calling the Office of Consumer Relations for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. All calls are recorded and may be monitored for policy complaints relating to child protective services, adult protective services, in-home services, residential child
Have these calls going through again while I'm trying to be on the line with consumer. Let's see who this is. Hello?
Hello, Kiana.
Yes.
This is Officer Parker of the Austin Police Department. How can I help you today?
Oh, call me right back. I'm on the line with child support CPS. Call me back in about 30 minutes.
I'll call you back in 5 minutes, okay?
30 minutes. 30 minutes. Thank you. Hello?
Afternoon, Officer Christie right there. This is Jessica. How may I help you?
Yes. I've done multiple different complaints, and they have been unaddressed. The policies and procedures weren't followed. People took bribes to keep me away from my children and made false statements, which is a state jail felony. Making false statements and hindering a child custody agreement is a state jail felony as well. And you said that on the recording when you guys are refusing investigation for the crimes. You there?
I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm listening.
What's your name?
My name is Jessica.
Okay, do you have an employee ID?
I'm sorry?
Your employee ID?
So we don't have IDs here. We're a small unit.
Do you have an extension? Do you have an extension? Do you have an extension?
We do not.
Or email? Or email?
Does not allow for an extension.
Email? Email?
Yes. Yes, we have our email, and that's whenever you're ready, let me know.
Okay.
Our email is O as in office, C for consumer, A for affairs, at EFPS, which is D for department, F for family.
But that's not distinguishing to you. How would I contact you back?
That is how you would contact us back. That is the email that we provide.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and go with the report. Let me go ahead and go with the report. I got records that they have deprived me of for years. And James Hastings terminated my child custody rights, and when he got caught in a web of lies, the 255th District Court removed him from the docket. But they just found him again in records. But they said that he didn't exist.
Can you hear me? It sounds like you're cutting in and out.
I'm cutting in and out. The feds won't do anything about me cutting in and out, ma'am. Maybe after this truck passes by. You there?
Hello?
You can't hear me now?
Can you hear me?
You heard me clearly before. What happened, ma'am?
Hello? I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Do you need a number, a callback number, in case you can't hear me again?
I thought you're very distant.
Okay, do you want a callback number, ma'am, in case you can't hear me again? Let me give you my number.
Yes, please. Can you say it low? It seems to be like a very hard echo in the back.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, the feds won't do anything about the echoes, ma'am. Hold on. Let me get the... Are you there? You heard me so clearly. Instead, I started talking about government officials committing crimes, and then we lost contact. You weren't able to hear me. You lost clarity then. One moment. Let me get the number for you.
Call you back and help you get a better connection.
Okay.
Good afternoon. May I speak to Ms. Clark, please?
This is her. You only want me to have your first name? You don't want me to have your last name? People no longer go by their last names anymore.
Ms. Clark, can you hear me? You sound really distant still. I feel like there's a lot of background noise.
Every time I'm talking about my children, it happens, ma'am. It's the strangest thing that I think someone's hacking my phone. When I'm talking about my children or crisis situations, it always happens. People can't hear me. This is the best my abuser's allowed to hack my phone, ma'am. I don't know what to do.
little bit better, Ms. Clark. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay. I can hear what you're saying, Ms. Clark. So let's go back. I know that you stated, please correct my wrong because it's coming in and out. You stated that you had filed multiple complaints and they hadn't been addressed. Did you address those complaints with our office or where?
I did. Can you look up my information? Can you look up my information and see what you see?
Okay, Ms. Clark, will you please verify for me your date of birth, please?
She won't leave. She's been here about as long as me.
Ms. Clark, will you please verify for me in regards to the case that you're referencing? Is this a case about approximately when did this case occur that you're referencing?
You pulled up my information. It's been happening ever since 2011 to current.
And you stated that this is a removal of your children. Is that correct?
I'm stating that it's a state jail felony to make false reports to CPS, and hindering a child custody agreement is a state jail felony as well. And my daughter has been placed in an unsafe environment where there's been physical abuse and dangerous weapons in the house. And the police department and CPS repeatedly just covers for it. And there's been evidence that of intoxication by the party that's supposed to be taking care of her. And when I was around her, there was neglect, obvious neglect, and she had meltdowns that the police department and CPS cover for profit, and then blame me for their inability to abide by the law.
Ms. Clark, so approximately when did this case that you're referencing?
You looked it up, ma'am. I gave you the last four of my social, all of my personal information. What do you see?
And that's what I'm trying to figure out, Ms. Clark, because I am not seeing that you have contacted our office before, and that's what I'm trying to find out. And I'm trying to go back, and I did it by the name that you provided me. And I'm also trying, and then I'm going to go in and try to do my case number.
Well, let's concentrate on the false statements. Let's concentrate on the false statements and the parties' inability to tell me what I did that they found neglectful, because no one has ever told me. No state worker will call me back and inform me of what the con was. I've called the police department and no, I'm not able, I don't know why my environments are always toxic like this, psychologically abusive. This is serious for people to take it.
Ms. Clark, if you feel that a false statement has been made against you for abuse and neglect, that's actually something that our office does not handle. That's something that our office would reference to the local county attorney, and that is who is designated by our Texas Family Code to be able to assist in those manners.
Okay, so what's been happening, ma'am, is I've just been surrounded by pathological lies, trapping me in abuse. So the people can't get their story straight, so they just pass the buck all these years, so they don't get responsibility for crimes that they chose to commit. So if all parties are conspiring with criminal activity and blatantly lying on me, passing the buck location to location to trap my family in abuse, how would I combat that? First, you need to make sure you're hacking that party's device, because that's too many felonies that government officials chose to rack up for themselves. And you get away with it because no one would believe that story. You'd have to prove something like that. So then this person calls all over the United States and people are psychologically abusive and covering for crimes. And then a multitude of the conversations blaming that party for the crimes that they're currently committing. So I'm not quite certain. I've already been railroaded to speak with you, and I've been on this hamster wheel years because people refuse to abide by the law and has seemed to not have repeatedly get accountability for it. So if you're consumer affairs and you're blatantly lying to me so people don't get consequences for charges, how do I combat that? Your blatant lies and an army full of other blatant lies.
Ms. Clark, and like I said earlier, I'm very sorry. I mean,
what do you do there then? Hold on. You're sorry. What's your last name?
My name is Jessica Ramos, and what I'm sorry is...
You Jessica what? Hold on, ma'am. Just hold on. That's it. Hold on 1 second. Your name was what?
My name is Jessica Ramos.
Okay, and what did I call?
We are the Office of Consumer Affairs.
For who?
And our office handles...
Office of Consumer Affairs for who? Office of Consumer Affairs for who? Office of Consumer Affairs for who?
For the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services.
Okay, hold on. Office of Consumer Affairs for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Hold on. Having issues with my phone. It says that there's misconduct with you. It says that you review the actions of orders of the courts of law enforcement agencies. You're being dishonest.
Ms. Clark, I cannot hear what you said. Can you repeat
It
that
says
for me?
online that you review the actions or orders of the courts or law enforcement agencies. So you're being dishonest. I'm reporting to you misconduct with both of those agencies.
So, what our office does is we handle policy-related concerns in regards to EFPS cases.
That's what I'm reporting to you, ma'am. I think there's a disconnect because that's what I'm reporting to you. That's what I'm reporting to you right now. And what was your last name again? How do you spell your last name?
Ramos.
And what was your first name?
Jessica.
Okay, for some reason, Jessica, you're being dishonest like an army full of other people. Why would you do that? Why would you cover for these people and their crimes?
Ms. Clark, I am not Ms. Clark.
Okay, well then let's go. I don't know why people think that it's arguing when they get caught in crimes and they repeatedly blame me for it. Why can't you just follow protocol and not blame me for your inability to do so? Can't you just follow protocol? That's why I called. Is it impossible for you to follow your protocol and then blame me because you're refusing to follow your own protocol? Can't you just follow your protocol on this call?
Ms. Clark, I'm going to have to disconnect the call if you don't let me speak in regards to what our office
Are you trying to take
does.
control and punish me by saying threats of disconnecting the call because you're not following protocol? I've had to endure that years. So you want to take control of your abuse and threatening to hang up to enforce abuse on my family? So you're threatening to end the call because you are not abiding by your protocol. And you want to punish me by threats of hanging up, like multiple other phone calls.
Ms. Clark, what I'm trying to say here is what our office does and does not do.
Right, and I'm trying to do a report of DPS, the Department of Family Protective Services, and you're refusing to take it and being dishonest about what you do there to cover for crimes.
So what you're referencing, what you stated earlier, is not what our office does.
That's what it says that you do. What do you do then?
Our office handles policy-related concerns in regards to EFPS cases.
That's what I'm trying to report to you.
Okay, so what policy are you referencing in regards to that you're trying to?
Okay, James Hastings of Hillsborough, Texas, took bribes and a task of school teachers to get my rights terminated as a parent with Hillsborough CPS Child Protective Services. Taking a bribe is misconduct. Then he tried to set me up, lie and slander, and say I was mentally ill and set me up, but there was a witness and he couldn't. That's misconduct and a crime. In addition to that, Regina Harris covered for him. His supervisor, when I did the complaint of his false reports, they said that I put things in letters and they have copies of it in jail. They said that it was about 30 or 40 lies that they said that I put in letters. I said, review the letters that I wrote because it's blatant lies. Then the 255th District Court let him disappear so he wouldn't get his charges. Then I reported it to the police, law enforcement, where it says that you work with both of those agencies, courts, what was it? Let me go back to it. It says that you work with all of those agencies, so the police department and the family court cover for James. So all these government officials, people that they deem more important, they don't get their felonies. People have chosen to hack my phone and then punish me for reporting it to my providers, threatening my arrest and criminal trespasses. So no one gets their felonies. So I'm calling con artists all day to get nowhere that repeatedly cover for crimes, which defrauds me out of funds. But nonetheless, what does it have to do with Department of Family Protective Services? So in their corruption, I was arrested in Arlington because they don't want these people that they deem have power to go to prison. So they took my freedom in Arlington, Texas for trying to report James Hastings and other parties taking bribes, court officials, and police. So then I went to Dallas locations. They scam criminal trespasses there. So these people don't get felonies they chose to rack up. So it is a state jail felony to make false reports to CPS. James hasn't got his state jail felony or multiple other conspirators and accomplices. Hindering a child custody agreement is a state jail felony as well. Bribes is criminal. So I'm not quite certain why you would cover for that, as well as everyone else I talked to regarding this on my phone. That's misconduct on your part when you won't let me report these crimes going on with the Department of Family and Protective Services. And that's your job, task, and responsibility. You have mandatory responsibilities, and if you don't do it, it's a crime. I told you my daughter, I'm not quite certain on this call, but my daughter's in an emotionally abusive environment that has had a gun in it. And you guys' inability to abide by the law jeopardizes our safety and psychologically as well as emotionally.
Ms. Clark, I'm going to start there. If you feel that your daughter is in an unsafe environment, what we can do...
No, I want you to concentrate on what you're supposed to do instead of telling me what can't be done. What you are going to do with the information that James Hastings...
The opportunity to be able to call in a statewide intake if you have concerns.
They won't take it, ma'am. They won't take it. I've already done it. They won't take it. They told me to call you. We're deflecting on your job task. I get that everywhere. The person at the shelter now is telling me to get mental health treatment and deflecting and depriving me of services there she just passed through. Everywhere does it. She wants me to go somewhere else to get services they offer here and starting arguments because I said I don't know why I need to meet with you if you're not giving me services. But nonetheless, I'm here calling you to report that James Hastings, as well as an army full of other parties, took bribes to keep me away from my child. And in addition to that, interference with child custody is a state jail felony, and making false statements to a family court and CPS is criminal. We have yet to address the misconduct of state workers.
Ms. Clegg, as you stated earlier, that, if you want to report staff misconduct, if you stated because of staff misconduct that was done, that is something that we would reference over to regional management, as they are the ones that handle staff misconduct.
That's not what it says on the website, ma'am. I think you're being dishonest. I need to speak with your supervisor. You're being dishonest. Why would Consumer Affairs protect these people that made the false reports if it didn't really happen? I think you're a scammer, and I think that you're trying to report these parties that decided to take bribes to keep me away from my child, which is criminal for all parties and all conspirators.
The other part that you just stated in regards to the actual recall court perjury, because you stated providing incorrect information to the court. For court perjury, that actually would be something that we would reference to the office of the Inspector General as well.
So I just keep getting forwarded over location to location to get nowhere. So first calls Consumer Affairs, then Inspector General. I've talked to all these locations. Now what number are you forwarding me over to?
That one is the office of the Inspector General they sent you to. That is the correct one to report the court perjury of somebody providing, like you stated, incorrect information to the court.
Well, I'm trying to report to you as state worker misconduct, which you handle, but you won't take it. And you guys haven't taken it for years.
Well, the staff misconduct is you would reference over to regional management. And if you would like, I could definitely look up to see who that would be, to be able to provide you who that contact person would be, because staff misconduct would be they would address.
Okay, the OCA. Okay, you getting that information?
So in regards to that, do you happen to remember what, and you said, remind me again, Can you provide me your caseworker that you were referencing in regards to the case itself?
So if it says that you review the actions and orders of the courts or law enforcement agencies, but you're unwilling to do that, how do I combat that?
Ms. Clark, I don't understand. Can you tell me where you're
I'm asking a question right now that I'm not being heard. It says that you review my phone malfunctioned and hid it. Just one moment. Are you there?
I'm here. I'm waiting.
Okay, just one moment. Let me find it again. Okay, it says that you review the actions and orders of the courts, law enforcement agencies, but you're depriving me of that right to experience that.
So I don't know where you're obtaining that, so I can tell you what our office does. So what our office does is we handle complaints about specific cases related to DFPS program policy. That is what our office does.
Program policy. So if people didn't follow policy, who do you report that to?
So if it's not policy, if it's something in regards to a policy concern, that is our office.
Well, if so, they're taking bribes, that's a policy concern, isn't it?
That actually would be staff misconduct. And staff misconduct would be who the reference over.
Oh, well, what are policy concerns? Explain me what policy concerns are.
So if you look on our website, we have all of our policies listed in regards to what actions the department has to take. So for example, a very basic policy would be like a reporter reported a case. Policy concern would be like a reporter identification was revealed. That could be a potential policy concern. So all of our policies are listed on our website.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, here's a policy. Okay, here's a policy. My child custody rights were terminated, and they didn't give me a court-appointed attorney, and that was policy?
So actually, court-appointed attorneys are appointed by the court, not the department. So if you did not receive a court-appointed attorney, that's something that...
No, I was told by DPS when they came there to the jail when I was in there on false charges that if my rights were being terminated, they do appoint an attorney. DPS, Federal Department of Family and Protective Services.
Unfortunately, that's appointed by the court. The department doesn't have like attorneys at their disposition. That is something that's done by the court itself.
Okay, so what about the 30 reports I made and they never gave me any paperwork on it? They didn't mail me anything in corruption. What about that misconduct?
Okay, and what type of reports and reports are you referencing?
Well, what they would do is when I reported staff misconduct and people taking bribes to keep me away from my children, they would hurry up and close the case. And they did not provide me any of the services offered. They did not give me guidelines to get access to my child. On these files, they wouldn't even inform me what the false statements were that were made because they didn't know. That's misconduct.
So what you're referencing there, I guess I'm kind of confused because you're stating that you reported conduct. Who did you report the conduct to?
I reported it to multiple different parties. We're deflecting on the fact that James Hastings took bribes, and then he was supposed to be letting me know what misconduct I did, and did not give me a strategy to obtain my child custody rights back because he took bribes to terminate them. So he did not follow protocol and give me a plan to regain access to my child. In addition to that, he did not tell me what was done that he found to be neglect. Because it was impossible for anyone to do a report. It was just me and my child there. So since they don't have an alibi for their crime, they're depriving me of any information on what the neglect was. So how can you terminate someone's rights and investigate someone and don't tell them why you're doing it? For years.
Ms. Clark, when were your children removed from your care?
I wanted to concentrate on James Hastings that took bribes and deprived me of the right to know what the investigation allegations were. So I still don't know what they are today.
That's what I'm trying to look up, but I need to see if I can pull up this information. Well, let's start with there. What is the name of your children?
Her name is Michaela. Jail on false charges. She witnessed police arresting me for profit. April 28, 2018. And then they went to set up a scam to keep me from her, knowing that would be the first thing I would want to do is have access to my child. and malice. They scammed any way that they could to keep me from her. And they had already committed crimes with my son. Hold on one moment.
Was there like an official court hearing in regards to like termination of parental rights or anything of
They
that
couldn't get
nature?
their story straight. It's misconduct that no one will investigate. I went to court 2 times and they wouldn't let me appear at court. I went to court October 26, 2019. They wouldn't let me appear. I went to court March 22nd. They wouldn't let me appear at court. And then Kim Cooks lied and did all kind of other misconduct in July 10th. And then when she realized what she did, they put it on Mary Murphy because Judge Beecham or whatever his name was, and Kim Cooks didn't want their charge. So they set up Mary Murphy, a judge that I never met, to take the fall for terminating my rights. So what had happened was they actually disposed of the order, bringing my child back, custody rights back to the same thing as me being the legal custodial parent. But someone paid to cause more custody issues, so they went back in a time machine and changed it to my custody rights were terminated. So they had to do that using Mary Murphy because they actually disposed of the case and it went back to my legal custodial rights. But then it changed again after they took bribes. But people are protecting them and not giving them their charges for felonies and not on court documents. So there's been no accountability for their crimes. I'm Clark. Kiana Clark, you got my information and you're looking for it right now to see what happened because no one ever told me about the neglect, what the neglect was.
I'm so sorry. On cage, will you please verify her date of birth? For custody against you and terminated your rights.
They did, but it changed when they incriminated themselves. So the family court let them disappear. And then the records disappeared until just this morning when they sent them. They had to disappear because they were trying to frame me with mental illness. And then when they got caught in their lies, because I wrote to Waco FBI, had telling them to pull all the documentation that I wrote to the court to see that, and to CPS to see that they were blatantly lying on me, saying that I stated things in letters that didn't happen. Then I did police reports on what James Hastings was doing and how he said that if somebody breaking my car window out and then a break-in of where I lived and all of the strange experiences that I had what made me delusional. I think a break-in is someone busting my car windows out and me reporting a stalker and just getting back from a domestic violence organization. I hadn't even put my bags up when he arrived at the door. I was on my way to go somewhere else. I was about to go buy hair care products and go take care of business, and he came in to interrupt my ride. But nonetheless, that happened, and he disregarded that our value, stating that those events weren't serious. And teachers fell in my daughter in malice, and evidence of that is me doing a police report regarding it. She went from a 40 to an 80 in one day. And she was really making an A. I showed them all the grades. I was keeping them. The school didn't know I was carefully monitoring her grades. So I just turned it into the police department and showed them how she made these A's. And then on one of her tests, it was a really important test, she had a 96 on it. They had a great job, but she was making a 40. I showed that to the police too. 96 for a test that took a considerable part, made a considerable part of her grade. Great job, but then you got a 40 on her report card, progress report. So the police officer was sickened and then had them change the grades accordingly. I think her name was Officer Scott, but she eventually, I guess, got bribed and then lied on me and set me up later.
Ms. Clark, like I stated earlier, I am trying to, I see here in regards to, I was able to find the top here in regards to the concerns that we had seen from the information that has been provided from different offices. I do see here that a letter was sent to you on December of 2022 from our office.
I didn't get any letters. I'm not being heard. I'm not being heard, ma'am. This is like it's cover up. I asked you what it was no one has ever told me about the neglect. You said you were going to check into that. I haven't received any letters, period. All I get is these people that want to cover for crimes. So I would like to concentrate on why I've been robbed of the right to know, why my child custody rights were terminated, and why I was found neglectful. I thought that would be misconduct with no one informing me of that in all these years.
So our office can only go back for 3 years in regards to policy concerns. So if this is a case that occurred back in, like, I think you said...
So you don't know either, ma'am? How do I figure out, what do I do to press charges on these people that chose to take bribes and trap me in this? Because they chose to take bribes, they want to let this man get his money's worth and trap me in his abuse, even though it's criminal. What do I do to protect myself against government officials racking up felonies for themselves repeatedly with no accountability? How do I stop this? Because it's went on long enough.
For that criminal action in regards to what you're referencing for bribes, that would be something that you would have to reference to law enforcement.
Okay, so as for the misconduct with CPS workers and making false statements to CPS, even though it's a state jail felony, there's no one to investigate that period on the planet to give these people their charges. It just can't be done.
Making false statements in court, like you stated, that's something that
to CPS, making false statements to CPS, making false statements to CPS is a state jail felony, but CPS refuses to investigate it. Who do I talk to have that will have CPS investigate these false statements and prosecute these people like they're supposed to?
So if people make false statements
to CPS.
Yes, so if people make false statements of abuse and neglect to the department, then that would be something that we would reference over to your county attorney.
Okay, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it?
So that would be something that you would have to do.
You just said that's something that you would reference over to the county attorney. The county attorney, you just said it's something that you would do, and then I said, when are you going to do it? And then you're making me do your job task like everyone else in my environments. Domestic violence organizations say do it yourself. My caseworker here at the shelter is saying do it yourself. Police departments are saying do your own law enforcement. That violates my constitutional rights. For all parties to deprive me of services and have me do it to myself deprives me of my rights.
Ms. Clark, when I made reference, I said that our department would reference over to them. I said we cannot do what they are supposed to, that is what they do. I'm providing you, and I can provide you that information, but that's something that you would have to report to them. Your local county attorney would be the person that is the one designated.
I think that you guys are deliberately giving me the hamster wheel and run around as you've done years to escape accountability for your crimes. I think that's what's going on. I think you're racking up felonies and you're fully aware of how many charges this would be. So you have me on this repetitive hamster wheel to get nowhere and have me call number to number years. Relentlessly hours, sometimes 12 or 13 in one day to get nowhere. I think that's what's going on, and I think that I'm going to continue to get the run around in this hamster wheel until you guys are held accountable for your crimes and your refusal to abide by the law. So what's the number you want to give me now, ma'am?
So it would be your county attorney. It just depends on where you reside, and that's something that you would have to figure out in regards to who your local county attorney is.
Okay, so you want me to contact the county, but I get it. It's your job to protect this man and these people that chose to rack up felonies.
Hold on. Ms. Clark, I didn't hear what you stated.
I said I get it. It's your job to protect this man and these people that have chosen to rack up felonies. So you cannot give me real referrals. If you're taking bribes and you're guarding my phone to keep me in this abuse, you can't possibly give me anything legitimate to get a remedy for these crimes. I get it. So you giving me I'm calling consumer. I think that we're having a disconnect because there's a conflict of interest. You're protecting people that I'm trying to get prosecuted for their crimes. I think that's where the disconnect is. I think the disconnect is because a criminal is guarding my phone and keeping me from making authentic calls. I think that's where the disconnect is. So I'm calling all these people that are scamming any way they can to cover for these government officials and my abuser to keep them from getting any consequences for their actions. That's where we're coming into conflict. Because each thing I come up with, there's a remedy for you to escape these people getting accountability as well as everywhere else I'm calling. So I don't know. So you want me to do the report, all the policies that were broken, you cover for it, as well as everywhere else I've called on my phone. So then you told me to go to a county or court attorney. Then you don't have any information for the court attorney. You want me to find it on my own. Then basically calling Consumer Affairs to report crimes that are repeatedly unaddressed year after year. Then you said you looked to see why my rights were terminated because the policy was not followed and no one told me because they didn't have their law straight. That violates my rights if someone's terminating my rights and won't tell me why they did it. And then did it when I wasn't even there, a party that I've never met. But no one's doing anything regarding this misconduct and this repetitive behavior of my rights being violated.
I never confirmed. Ms. Clark, I never stated that the information that you provided was inaccurate in regards to them terminating your rights because I cannot look up court documents, and so I don't know why they terminated your rights.
I'm not being heard that they didn't follow policy and never informed me. I'm not being heard that they never follow policy. If you're to keep interrupting me from doing the report and protecting people that committed crimes, we're not getting anywhere. You're trying to take control of crimes. Again, everyone disconnects it when they get caught in a bind to abide by the law. That's not fair to me for you demanding to disconnect the call because you're refusing to abide by the law. You haven't given me the other numbers. While you're during your crime, I want.
720-7777.
What number is this? Well, ma'am, they do this all the time. Ma'am, I don't have the number. It's on purpose. She hung up. You're very low, ma'am. Can you talk up? Oh, you sound so low, but yet people aren't getting charges, ma'am. Is that the highest volume that you can have for your voice?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you better now that you're speaking up. You're speaking, it sounds like you're deliberately speaking low. On purpose.
No, ma'am.
Okay, I can hear you really well now. If you could talk like that.
Okay, so how can I direct your call?
What did I call?
You're calling the Office of Inspector General?
Is this where I do complaints about misconduct by CPS workers?
No, let me see, but I do have a phone number that I could probably provide you to report a CPS caseworker if you need that.
What's that number?
Okay.
What's the name of it? What is it called? What is it called?
I don't have a name. I just have a list, and it says to report a CPS caseworker.
You don't know what? This is Inspector General, and you don't know who you're giving me a number to? And you can't find that out? And this is Inspector General. This is Inspector General, and you giving me a number to call someone and don't know who it's to? And you haven't got charges? But I'm asking you what agency you want me to speak with, and you don't know, and this is Inspector General?
Well, do you want the number?
I want the feds, ma'am. What's the number?
It's 1-800-720-7777.
Yeah, that's why you didn't want me to know. I just called that. That's Consumer Affairs. She forwarded me over to you after her crime. I've been on this hamster wheel years. That's why you didn't want me to know who it was. But I know your game, so I remembered the number. You just had me on this hamster wheel, referring me back to each other over and over again to get nowhere.
Well, if not, I can give you the fraud hotline phone number. But this is the phone.
Oh, you remember the same thing from Fort Worth? It's still going on here.
What?
I'm talking to a gang stalker from Fort Worth that's in Austin. And still haven't got her charges. So anyway, I don't know what to do, ma'am, because you guys haven't had accountability for your crimes. You just keep referring me place to place to get nowhere. What does Inspector General do? Can we talk about the food stamps that were stolen with you? I'm not quite certain if I'm asking questions and everybody needs to talk while I'm asking questions. That's psychologically abusive.
Medicaid fraud or provider fraud. That's what they investigate.
So this is how I've been trapped, ma'am, because people won't, they're being dishonest. What about the food stamps that were stolen that you guys covered for and blame me for, saying I didn't spend it off a card? Isn't that fraud?
Okay, so if it's a fraud of having to do with food stamps or SNAP benefits, then that would be with the fraud hotline with OID. But to report a CPS caseworker is not here.
What do you do there?
That's what I'm telling you. They do here investigations about like food stamps, Medicaid, providers, fraud.
Yeah, food stamps. Food stamps, ma'am.
Okay, so if you need the food stamps to report a fraud for food stamps, I can give you that phone number as well.
If you handle that, why are you giving me a number to call somewhere else? Everywhere does this, ma'am. I get nowhere for years.
Yeah, I'm at the front desk, so I don't handle those investigations. I can give you the phone number where you need to call. It is within OID, and then you call, and then they take the report there.
Okay, he gets off on me having to call these numbers and get nowhere. This is very important to him,
I mean, I
to
can
spend my
provide you
wills.
the phone number if you like. They can answer you. And
Okay,
actually,
what's the number, ma'am? That is imperative. Tell her to go somewhere else to get services that we're making sure she never sees. Shelter, tell her to go somewhere else. Everywhere, tell her to go somewhere else to get he loves to spend wills. Obsessed with it. Okay, what's the number, ma'am?
For the fraud hotline, it is within OID, but now it's 4:18 p.m. and they already closed at 4 o'clock. If you would like, you can call tomorrow.
You're not really making sense. That's the 4:18 p.m. is when they close, and that's the number?
I didn't give you the phone number. I'm just telling you.
Right. Why I asked for the number? You don't know what a phone number is? Someone asking for a number? You don't know what that means?
Ma'am, I already gave you the phone number that you asked for to report a CPS caseworker, and now you're telling me about food stamps?
Right, because you're supposed to handle it there, but you're taking bribes or however you're doing this. You want me to call, you handle it there, but you want me to forward me over to another number that you never gave me.
You're calling the main line, so it is a front desk technically, so I can't assist you with other than giving you a phone number where
You haven't given it to me, ma'am. And then you're blaming me for it.
you just keep talking and then you're not wanting the phone number.
This is psychologically abusive, ma'am. Something needs to be done about this. This is very abusive for my abuser to be able to control this.
6184.
It's what?
You have a great day.
What is it? What is it? They did it again. They handle it there. These are the manners that I've had to endure years to keep me trapped in this hamster wheel. You know what? I cried and 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 cried. And it is what it is. Demanded, demanded, demanded. You cannot defraud me out of funds. This is the United States of America. And each day they defraud me out of funds and force me to speak with these scammers so they do not rack up the charges they chose for the crimes that they chose to commit. So I have to pay the brunt and the penalty by paying a phone bill for services that I cannot get in the United States of America. And I just have to take it. Criminal trespass by going and report it to my provider. Now they're having my provider take the file and say that there's nothing they can do to have me make my authentic calls that I'm paying them for. What do you mean it's nothing you can do? I'm paying you to make my authentic calls, and you're telling me that there's no, the police department told us to say this. So we cannot enforce that you make your real calls even though you're paying us. That's how it goes. And get out before we call the police and you go to jail. My phone won't let me call this. It's Homeland Security. It's making me go through an email and my other phone is trying to hide it. I'm trying to call them and it wants me to go through all this. It's not letting me dial the number for Homeland Security. It's actually Secret Service.
Please hold. U.S. Secret Service, please hold.
Yes, I wanted to know. I'm not quite sure how to handle this, but I wanted to set up an extra strategy to leave this country. I'm being deprived of my right to mail, to have phone service, to my right to children, my right to get help with organizations, to attend churches, to get law enforcement, and all kind of other areas. I'm being deprived as a citizen, to housing, shelter. So I don't want to be in this country if I'm going to be deprived of all rights that other citizens have. Other citizens can get mail, I can't. They can place their calls. They can get law enforcement. So I'd like to speak with someone in the Secret Service to set up an exit strategy to leave, because I'm being violated and have had no remedy for abuse that I've been forced to endure.
Yeah, please hold.
Okay. Again? Yes, may I have your name?
Sure, my name is Jalisa.
Oh, you okay. And you're in Austin?
What was that?
You're in Austin, located in Austin?
Yeah. Can I help you?
What location in Austin?
I'm sorry, I'm here to assist if you have a valid question because I'm going out the door. Just can I help you with the valid?
Oh, you're going out the door?
Yep.
I'm being controlled right now, and a lot of my calls I'm being controlled by people who are demanding that to not answer questions and then.
Fantastic. Okay, you have a good day. Bye.
This is how it's been years. Just trapped in this living hell all this time. Threats, attacks, hit and runs, completely robbed of law, guns pulled on me, trapped on trains, buses taken to the garage, violated at whole shelters, tortured, and absolutely no accountability year after year. It wasn't recording it, but it wouldn't call until I started recording. It's another number. I don't know what that is.
Thank you for calling the University of Texas System Administration. Please hold while we connect your call.
What does it stand for, OFPC?
I'm sorry, we have the capital project, OCP.
Okay, can you repeat what that stands for?
Office of Capital Project.
What do you do there?
We manage all the new construction and renovation of all the UP system buildings.
Okay, I have the wrong number. Thank you. I've called this multiple different times and they keep telling me it's the wrong number. Yes, I've been calling you guys. What did I call? Okay, I'm trying to get in witness protection and flee this country because I'm not getting treated properly as a citizen, and there's no been accountability for people breaking the law. So I wanted to know an exit strategy I can get for leaving this country to be safe. You there? Transferred while I was talking. That's rude. Are you there? What's your name? What's your name?
Tracy, how can I help you?
What do you do there at Tracy at the U.S. Marshal Service? Your position?
I confirm warrant.
You confirm warrants?
Yes, you have information regarding the warrant?
I don't know if there has been one. I did report crimes to the U.S. Marshal Service of a massive amount of corruption and federal crimes. Can you see what's going on with it? I did write you guys letters that have been unaddressed.
Okay, what city and state were you calling from?
I've been all over, but I just wanted to see if you have the warrant.
Okay, yeah, for us to tell you about a warrant, you have to actually go to your local police department. We can't get that over the phone.
Oh, so my reports I made to you guys, you can't tell me about a follow-up with my reports?
Okay, I don't know where your report was going. I'm in Washington, D.C. Where were you sending your reports to?
I thought this is where all the reports went. I sent information in the mail to you guys. I wrote to you.
No, there's a U.S. Marshal Office actually in every
Well, why don't you just look? Because I wrote it to you. I wrote it to this office. Can you just look and see what you have and see if you have something? You said that's what you do.
You want to see what I got from Washington, D.C.?
I wrote to Washington, D.C. I'm not being heard.
Okay, let me see. I can get. Well, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. If I get you over to Washington D.C.,
I thought you were Washington, D.C., and you look up warrants and...
it's 5 o'clock.
It's what?
It's 5 o'clock, and the office is
It's not 5 o'clock. It's 4:32.
Yes, it is. No, ma'am. Look at your clock. It's 5:32.
Oh, well, maybe because we have different time zones. So you're at work, but you're not at work?
Correct. After hours.
Ma'am, it's just all over the United States. There's catch-22s for years that for me to get nowhere, it's like it's deliberate. So there's nothing we can do. Okay, well, I have another question, ma'am? She hung up. He's obviously controlling my phone. I don't know how many patterns equal an arrest. Yes, I feel like my rights are being violated because each time I'm calling a place, they hang up to keep me from services and knowledge. And it's happened years. In some kind of way, when I go to my providers, the police department come and threaten my arrest for trying to get down to the bottom of it. Am I able to speak? Hello? Hello? What is the point? I'm just being robbed of my life to do all these uploads to get nowhere. I don't even know if my channel's real. So obviously they are refusing to abide by the law and me doing all these uploads to get nowhere. Obvious wrecked up felonies, absolutely repeatedly no accountability. You see what I've had to endure years. You know, sometimes you just want to talk to someone that has love and compassion and just doesn't meet you with so much hate. But I haven't been able to find it. So it used to be when I went to church, people loved on you, they were compassionate, and they love you. No, not with the police department. Now they hate your guts and they threaten to put you out for trying to be safe. And you just have to take it. That's how church is for me. Getting drug out of them and thrown down on concrete. If I had choices, which clearly I don't want to live in an environment like this. I don't want to be in a country that treats citizens like this. But I don't have any choices. That deprives someone of law enforcement, can rack up countless felonies and list a whole business to torture someone. Should reorganize the whole business for abuse repeatedly over and over with no accountability, depending on who's present. I don't want to live in a place like that. But I haven't been able to stop it. To enlist businesses and restaurants to ruin someone's food, blame them for it, curse them out, and tell them not to come back. Deprive them of meal and access to funds on cards repeatedly over and over and threaten their arrest, put them in jail for reporting it. Demanding that they be defrauded out of funds, the police department and government, IRS, Social Security Administration, Health and Human Services. Why would anyone want to live in a country that's defrauding its citizens out of funds with no accountability? Not to mention the money that was in my account that they wouldn't give me for a whole month until I had to write down and try to incriminate the bank. It won't call the FBI. Now it is, now that I'm recording.
Thank you for calling the Austin.
Yes, I like to get a strategy to leave this country. I'm not being treated properly here. And I want to know how the FBI can help me. I'm not getting law enforcement for a massive amount of felonies racked up around me and corruption.
Hold on, 1 moment. Hold on.
Okay. Hold on. Since my abuser's paying for it, the same pattern. Hold on.
Hello. Thank you for calling the FBI. To continue this call in English, press 1.
They didn't want me talking to the Austin location where I'm at. They want to force that I call the call center.
This is not a 9.
Austin Resident Agency is a San Antonio division of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Para español, oprima el 9. If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. Our office hours are 8:15 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. We are closed on all federal holidays. How can I help you?
Yes, may I have your name?
This is the FBI. How can I
You don't want me to have your name?
We don't give out names. How can I
Do you
help
have you a ID, a Asian ID or anything?
you? No, ma'am. How can I help you?
Okay, where are you located?
Ma'am, how can I help you?
I don't have rights, ma'am. If y'all don't know where you're located, how can you help? And I don't know anything about you.
Well, why are you calling the FBI?
Because I'm trying to report crimes. How would I do that?
What type of crime? I'm trying to get you over to the line that can take your call.
What do you know? I don't want you to get me over to the line, ma'am. Can I talk to you?
What kind of crime?
Okay, so
Operator, I can't help you unless you tell me what you need.
I'm trying to. Okay, so can you let me know where I can go to report a crime?
Yes, you can go to your local police department.
No, to a crime to the FBI. That's why I call the FBI.
You call your local police department.
And they forward it over to the FBI when I'm calling the FBI?
What do you need the call for? You're not helping. What's the crime about? What type of crime is this?
Okay, so hold on. So I have a checklist of questions that I'm asking you how I can report crimes to the FBI, and you have to ask questions and not answer my questions.
Hello. Thank you for calling the FBI. To continue this call in English, press 1.
Report the word vehicle again. So the more upset he is, the more they lash out in my environments and on my phone.
San Antonio Division of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Para español, open.
Thank you for calling the FBI. To continue this call in English, press 1. For Spanish, press 2. For any other language.
So she's not answering the phone. She's forwarding me over to the hotline.
Office of the FBI. All calls are monitored and recorded. If it's an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. All calls are monitored and recorded.
San Antonio Field Office.
If it's an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. For Spanish, please press 7.
Yes, I have some questions.
Okay.
What location are you in San Antonio?
You can't be broken up.
What location are you at in San Antonio? This is the San Antonio office?
Yes, in San Antonio. We located at 5740 University Heights Boulevard.
Okay, and I'm sorry, what was your name?
I can't give you my name, man, but what's the reference for this?
Oh, so y'all can't know who I'm speaking with? It's impossible?
Why are you calling FBI, man?
I wanted to know who I'm speaking with, and it's impossible for me to know?
Right, ma'am. I can't give you my name.
Do you have an ID? An ID of who I'm speaking with?
Ma'am, what can the FBI do for you?
I guess people take control of the call. Yes, I have questions on my abilities to report. I like to do it in person.
You have what again?
I like to report
Carolyn,
crimes.
I can barely hear you.
Oh, I don't know why that is. That's what another one of my reports.
You're breaking up, ma'am. I can't hear you, ma'am. You're breaking up.
Okay, that's one of my reports. Are you able to call me back?
No, ma'am. I won't call you back.
You won't call me back?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so how do I report crimes to the FBI? Can I come in person and do it?
No, you have to have an appointment. We don't take people walking in here.
Oh, okay, I have to have an appointment to come to the FBI.
Okay. That's right, ma'am.
And you don't want me to know your name?
No, ma'am. I'm not at liberty to give you my name.
Right. When you're racking up felonies, I imagine you wouldn't want to be at liberty to. Okay, so are you there? You hung up? All callers have done that pretty much today. I think that they're telling me that they're not going to abide by the law as they haven't in all these years until someone puts handcuffs on them. When are they going to do it?